Fans, a name that was once a symbol of hope in Minnesota is now suspended and under investigation, even after doing everything to help young people in vulnerable situations. Meanwhile, a new addition, received with little fanfare, is being pointed to as a key piece to elevate the Vikings defense to the next level. These are two extremes that highlight how the franchise is experiencing a moment of change and deep reflection. Welcome! Show your support for the Vikings by reaching 100 likes on today's video. The name may be far from the NFL today, but it remains strongly connected to the Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback drafted by Minnesota in 2014 and selected to the Pro Bowl in just his second year in the league. Now, at 32 years old and officially retired from the field, Bridgewater has made headlines for another reason. He was suspended from his high school coaching position for helping his athletes too much. That's right. The former QB was punished for using his own money to support his players, a situation that sparked outrage and bewilderment on social media. The decision was made by Miami Northwestern High School, his former school and current home as a volunteer coach. After leading the team to the Florida 3A state title in 2024, Bridgewater was investigated by the FHSAA, Florida High School Athletic Association, for providing undue benefits to the players. What were those benefits? Paid training out of his own pocket, meals, field maintenance, uniforms, transportation, and even Uber rides for the young athletes, many of whom come from difficult socioeconomic backgrounds. In his defense, Bridgewater was direct on social media. He admitted to making the payments, stated that he reported the expenses to the school himself, and made it clear that he will not abandon the project. "If I was suspended from MNW, I'm free to go to any other school, but I'm not going anywhere," he wrote. He also recalled that between 2018 and 2019, he had already been helping the team from the stands without being formally part of the coaching staff. In other words, his commitment goes back a decade of real involvement with the community. The case exposes a structural problem in youth sports in the United States, when real help conflicts with cold, outdated rules. In theory, FHSAA regulations prohibit any type of advantage that may seem like illegal recruiting. In practice, we are talking about a former NFL player who chose to donate time, money, and energy to change lives and is being punished for it. The irony is painful. If Bridgewater had turned his back, no one would have blamed him. But by doing more than expected, he became a target. Indignation took over social media. Journalists, former players, and fans voiced their support for Bridgewater. Many reminded that even while he was still playing, he was already funding school programs and providing scholarships for young athletes. He is not trying to steal talent or create an unfair advantage. He is simply ensuring that low-income youth have the minimum to compete. It's worth remembering, Bridgewater suffered a serious injury in 2016 when he was still the Vikings' great hope. Even so, he fought, returned to the field, went through 5 franchises, and ended his career as one of the most respected examples of professionalism and resilience. Seeing a profile like his being punished for something that should be celebrated is, at the very least, concerning. And the most symbolic aspect of all this is the contrast between Bridgewater in 2014 and in 2025. Back then, he was the future of the franchise. Today, he is a former athlete trying to give back to society everything he learned and facing obstacles along the way. It's a harsh reflection for the NFL and its franchises, which constantly preach community values but rarely reward those who truly practice them. For Vikings fans, the connection with Bridgewater goes beyond the field. He represented hope during a tumultuous period for the franchise, and now he continues to embody human values. The punishment may temporarily distance him from the sidelines, but his example remains more relevant than ever. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, a new name is beginning to emerge as a pillar of a critical sector. If the future is the focus, perhaps it's time to look at who is currently building a new era of defensive prominence on the field. The name is not yet a national headline, but it is dominating the behind the scenes in Minnesota. Isaiah Rodgers, a newly arrived cornerback from the Eagles, is seen internally as the most important piece outside of the offense to transform the Vikings defense into one of the most complete in the NFL. And it's not just journalists or fans saying this, it's Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, the two most important voices in the coaching staff. Rodgers arrived quietly with a 2-year contract worth $11 million. It was the Vikings' first signing in this free agency, but he went unnoticed amid more high-profile names like Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. However, as minicamp progressed, the perception changed, and quickly. O'Connell revealed that Flores was completely convinced about Rodgers. And those who follow the defensive coordinator know when Flores is confident, he is usually right. It was the case with Minkah Fitzpatrick, it was the case with Kyle Duggar. Now, Rodgers is the new trusted man in the defensive system, a player who combines intelligence, speed, and technique and has everything to take on an immediate starting role alongside Byron Murphy Jr. Rodgers is 27 years old and comes from solid seasons with excellent grades on PFF both with the Eagles and previously with the Colts. In 2021, he had 3 interceptions and was considered an undeniable future starter until the 2023 suspension for violating the NFL's gambling policy. That temporarily derailed his career, but he returned in 2024 with consistency and, according to analysts, has completely regained his physical and mental form. The specialized press has already bought into the narrative. Alec Lewis from The Athletic picked Rodgers as the top candidate for breakout player for the Vikings in 2025. Jared Duggan from CBS Sports went further. He called Rodgers the most important non-quarterback player on the roster. Kevin Seifert from ESPN labeled the corner as the biggest positive surprise of training camp so far. And there's reason for all this hype. The cornerback position was the biggest question mark in Minnesota's defense. The arrivals of Allen and Hargrave strengthened the front, and the secondary needed a balance to match. Rodgers brings exactly that: consistent man-to-man coverage, sharp route reading, and speed to recover in depth. His interception against J.J. McCarthy during OTAs was just a warning. The great advantage of Rodgers is that he doesn't need to be the savior of the defense, but he can be the missing link. With Murphy performing at a high level, he assumes the role of CB2 with a real possibility of evolving into CB1. This, in an aggressive scheme like Flores's, is essential. The Vikings can pressure more, trust more in simple coverage, and open new tactical possibilities. For a team that wants to compete now, Rodgers could be the invisible ace up their sleeve. He may not have the name recognition of a Marshawn Lattimore or Darius Slay, but he is on the rise and has extra motivation to prove he deserves a new status. For the Vikings, this is a rare gem, an extremely high-ceiling player with an affordable contract and a thirst for affirmation. Rodgers' success will not only be an individual triumph, but also a strategic win for the management that bet on the right profile, talent, focus, and recovery. And for fans, he could be the new name to be celebrated in a defense that finally seems ready to dominate. While Teddy Bridgewater is punished for doing the right thing off the field, Isaiah Rodgers receives recognition within it. These are two opposite moments, but they reveal a lot about how football and the NFL as a whole still deals with merit, values, and reputation. Bridgewater deserves respect for his human dedication. Rodgers deserves attention for his technical potential. And the Vikings need to value both, the past that shaped their identity and the present that can mold a winning future. And you, Vikings fan, is Bridgewater's suspension fair or a bureaucratic absurdity? And Rodgers, do you believe he can be the standout name in the defense in 2025? Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis straight from Minnesota.